Coming to you live from the On Air Media Studios in Dallas, Texas. Welcome to Sound Bites with Susan and Waylon, where we take a short extraction of our daily lives as publicists to share with you all, our audience here in DFW and beyond. My name is Waylon Tate with J. Waylon and Associates.
And I'm Susan Friedman with Friedman Marketing and Public Relations. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Monday Motivation.
Monday Motivation, and we have a great guest speaker for that, too.
We sure do. It's going to be an exciting episode, I think, for us, even on a personal level, because we've known her for some time.
Yes.
And she'll have a lot to share and add to our conversations as well. But we should just dive right in. We have so much to talk about, right?
How was your weekend?
It was good. It was good. Rarely do I get the opportunity where I just kind of take some time to myself, right? Where I'm not working. And I did that. And I got to spend some time with friends, which was really nice. Probably 1 or 2 or 15 too many drinks. But it was it was nice. It was nice to just kind of decompress.
Therapy.
Yes. And we actually went yesterday to the Crow Museum of Asian Art.
Was that your first time?
It was my first time.
What did you think?
Well, it was nice. They had kind of 2 different exhibitions, one on either side. So they're doing renovations. So the second floor is obviously not available at the moment. But it was really nice. It's all kind of focused on the samurai and kind of the garments that they wear.
Oh,
And
right.
It was
It's
really
beautiful.
nice.
So did you know, I'll tell you a little bit of back history,
Sure.
that the Crow Collection is actually owned by the Crows who own the Hilton Anatole.
Nice.
And the Hilton Anatole was partially built because they needed a place to store all their artwork. And so years and years and years ago, when it first opened, it was, this is maybe a legend, but I like the story.
I love legends.
Yes, so you can actually walk through the Hilton Anatole Hotel
Okay.
and see quite a bit of amazing artwork.
That is crazy.
They have the Berlin Wall, actually, a piece of the Berlin Wall there,
Inside
too.
of the Anatole?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. No, I never, how would I have known that, right? I don't guess it's highly publicized. But isn't North Park also, because they hate to be called a mall, I know that, right? It's like North Park
Center. Correct.
Because if I'm not mistaken, it's still a privately owned space, and there's like original pieces of like
Amazing.
Matisse, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but I know that it's like real art. I mean, it's not like copied pieces. Like there's original pieces.
We're
of
very
art there.
fortunate in Dallas to have
We
such
are.
amazing art.
And it's so funny that you say that, Susan, because the 2 friends that I went with yesterday, we talked a little bit about that. About, are we numb because we live inside of Dallas, like interior, Dallas, that there's all these amazing things around us, and I just don't think we take full advantage and
I
opportunity.
agree. And that's why
to
we're
explore.
here.
That's right, to kind of share with you
Yes.
all what's going on and kind of the hidden gems in Dallas,
Yep.
right, and Fort Worth. So what did you do this weekend?
Well, you talked about drinking.
Yeah.
We always talk about a little bit about drinking on the show. And Saturday was World Bartender Day. And so I was working, and AC Hotels celebrated World Bartender Day.
Nice.
We actually had a TV segment. I think there's a couple behind the scenes pictures of what it looks like. This is the WFAA studio behind the scenes.
Yes, it is.
What's really neat, I don't know if everyone knew this or not, is at American Airlines Center, and a lot of the cameras are robots that are being handled and managed by their location on Yonge Street in a totally different building.
That is so interesting.
Yes. So this is our bartender and bar manager, Chris Unra. He made a signature gin and tonic.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's what I did Saturday morning, and then Saturday afternoon we had a live Facebook feed.
Okay.
Celebrating World Bartenders Day as well. And then on Sunday I went to, the reason I went to this book club is because of the name. It's called Badass Book Club, and Amber LaFrance created it, and it's at the Butler Building. And so I went to my first Badass Book Club, and we read a book called We're Going to Need More Wine. Second reason why I went to this.
Did
And
this
it's by
include
Gabriel
wine?
Union. It was a lot of fun, and I love to read, so I enjoy sharing my passion with other people. So.
Well, and I love Gabrielle Union. She's an incredible actress and has done many
Yes.
things. Just give us a little snippet of what the book is.
It was a
kind of about.
long summary of her life, and it has a lot of humor. It is very authentic and passionate about. It talks, positives and negatives. She had almost 2 different lives in her childhood. You just have to read the book. I do recommend it. It's an easy read.
Okay.
So yeah, if you enjoy reading, make
Check
sure to
out.
pick it up.
Yeah. So what is coming up this week? I know that we've got quite a few events going on. My calendar's crazy booked. I'm sure yours is
Yeah.
as well, because you're like the event queen.
Oh. Well, I'm attending as a guest to the North Texas Irish Festival. It is produced by, or I shouldn't say produced, but it's sponsored by Sprint, and it's this weekend at Fair Park.
Okay.
And it's one of the largest Irish festivals in the country. And so I kind of stopped and said, I'm totally going once I saw that there's going to be Irish stew and shepherd's pie, which I love
Oh,
eating.
it's my
I love
favorite
Irish
thing.
food, believe it or not.
Yes.
And they also have tons of Irish whiskey, but they have so much more. It is a family-friendly event. There's music, there's dancing, dozens of activities for kids and child-friendly entertainment, chef demonstrations, blacksmith demonstrations, horse displays, you name it. And what's so amazing, supposedly, I haven't been,
Okay.
but there's over 1,000 volunteers who produce this event. Can you imagine the support for this?
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of people.
It is
to
a
be in-
lot. So,
I should maybe go. I am Irish,
13
right? So
stages. Well, no, we need to go together
We
this
should go.
weekend. So tickets are available.
We can ride a
There's
horse
a lot
together,
of different
Susan.
prices. Make sure you go to the website. It's ntif.org. And tickets are $10 to $30.
Nice.
There's different discounts available if you go to different grocery stores and so forth. So definitely check it out. Once again, it's www.ntif, which is North Texas Irish Festival.org.
nice. It's a very nice acronym. And we'll make sure and obviously post that on our website after the show, and we'll share the event on Facebook as well, which we're getting really good at doing.
Yes.
Right? And I'm noticing people are kind of taking note of that. And
What's our website?
that's right. Our website is susanandwaylon.com.
Yep.
That's susanandwaylon.com. Perfect. What else, Susan? I know that there's other things.
Yes, I'm going to the Modern. So today is my husband's birthday.
Oh my gosh,
Yes,
shout
and
out
we're
to
going to
Brian.
celebrate with his family in Fort Worth. We talk about Fort Worth quite a bit. So we're going to the Modern, and there's an amazing artist named I hope I pronounce it correctly. It's Ron Muick, and he does sculptures of people, and they look amazingly real, but some of them are really, really small, and some of them are gigantic. Yes, there's a picture, and you can see the person next to.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that
So
amazing?
This
So this is not. This is one from a different exhibit. I
Okay.
couldn't find a good picture for the one that's being shown here. There's 6 sculptures available, and 2 of them are world debuts, which is amazing. Again, that we have
Right.
that opportunity here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex.
You're gonna get me over there. Like, you talk so much about Fort Worth and the museums that exist over there. I'm just gonna have to make, like set it as a priority to go, because I've gotten more into,
Fort Worth is a
visiting
great
museums.
city,
Yeah, it is.
To get away from Dallas, but not too far.
A nice
30-minute
change, right?
drive.
Well, we as in you, I think we always kind of explore either interesting ways in which PR is handled, right?
Yeah, we try to take a PR spin on things,
we sure
or
do.
find best practices that other people have done.
Yeah.
So this is great. It's KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and they messed up royally in England, of all places. So there was 1 week where none of the restaurants had chicken. They had changed suppliers, and logistically there were some screw-ups, and for 1 week there was no chicken.
Literally
in the
no chicken.
No chicken. A fried chicken restaurant with
No
no
chicken.
chicken. So this is their response. Do we have a picture of it? Brilliant. And I consider this a best practice for several reasons. Number one, they admitted to their fault. How could
Okay,
they not?
that's the first.
But they admitted to the problem and addressed it directly with this ad. They took out a full-page ad in The Sun. Number two, they sincerely apologized. They apologized to their customers, but they also apologized to their franchisees and team members, saying, we
Really messed up. Right.
Yep. And they did a good job in this. Oh, well, they also showed appreciation to their team members, saying, you guys really stepped up to the plate during this time. But then they did a good use of humor, which you have to be very careful. But in this situation, I think it worked.
It did. I mean, that's such a fine line, and any kind of crisis communications, or you're, if you're faced with a problem, you either you can't just sit, right? There's
Right.
always an action item that has to take place. I've learned this very much, and the approach can go a couple of ways. So I appreciate you saying that it's a very thin line,
Delicate.
right? Yeah, because I mean, Do you think that, because obviously this is a reference to a different, another word, right? Do you think that that would have flown the same in the States?
I had that same question because I do think British humor is a little bit different.
I do too.
They would probably have some backlash.
Here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think-
Which is unfortunate. You know, the Brits are much more, I think their sense of humor is much broader, right? They're able to encompass a lot more things and just take it for pure humor.
Right.
They're much less PC than we are in
Right.
the States, for sure. So, but kudos to them. I
Yeah.
mean, that was and I'm
Yeah.
sure that had to happen incredibly fast,
Yes,
right? Because,
exactly. And you know, their choice of publication, The Sun, it's a little bit more of an entertainment magazine.
Right.
I think if they put it in a newspaper, it may have been a little bit different.
Well, and I bet I would be interested to see if KFC's numbers the following week when they got the chicken back in actually went up, right? Because you're looking for that bite.
Right.
It's on everybody's mind.
Yeah.
And then to see if it actually brought in business the next
Yeah,
week.
I'd
That
be
would
interested
be great.
to see that,
yeah.
too.
Sometime maybe next week, or I'll share the article actually. So Cameron Sharp wrote a piece for myself and another company, Critical Launch, kind of a partnership series of thoughts and focuses on advertising. Wrote this beautiful piece, and it was the 10 biggest advertising mistakes of all time.
Ooh.
Susan, I'll have to send you the article. It's really, really good, and it talks about just some disasters of when they wanted to do stuff.
Oh, I
and
can only imagine.
yeah, so I'll share that and send that to you as well. But so I wanted to just touch base just a little bit about something that's going on in the media that I think would be crazy and remiss not to bring it up, because we live in a world of news and PR and spin and all of that kind of stuff, and it's the response from the millennials to the shooting in Florida, and how they're using kind of the competitive advantage of being youth and their knowledge of social media in their response to these shootings and really going after the NRA. Like it's, I don't know if any of the viewers have seen any of the video clips from these students going into their respective government offices and really demanding answers,
Yeah.
right? I posted something on my personal social media this past week that said there's nothing more dangerous than a scorned millennial. And it's true, because they have...
Beautifully put.
Well, and through some of our other research that we've been doing as of late, it is the largest group of Americans, right? Millennials, that particular group is the largest group that we have in the country. And I'm telling you, they have a whole hell of a lot more energy than I have.
They're so articulate and informed, and I don't know if demanding is the correct word, but their questions that they want answered are very direct.
They are. And they're not, they're incessant, and they're not backing down.
Yeah.
And I think that, they may, the NRA may well have met their match. And some of these senators and congressmen and women who have been able to skirt this issue for so many years and through so many tragedies that we've had, that I give so much, reverence and kudos to these young men and women who are going on national television.
Yeah.
I mean,
Let's touch base on it again in a week or two when we see more develop.
Sure.
Because
Let's absolutely
I think
do that.
we will be seeing a lot more develop in the coming weeks.
I do too. So, okay, great. So stay tuned after this short commercial break from one of our sponsors, Crudo Vodka, where we will have one of our good besties joining us for some
Our
really
good
good
besties.
conversations on female empowerment. Stay tuned. Welcome back. And so when I think of someone who is able to wear many hats and many layers,
That was a tease.
Yeah, exactly. The list becomes very small. So we're really, really proud to have Priya Rathod in the studio with us.
Yay.
Just amazing, period, would probably be the word that I've used. I've known you for almost 10 years now. She's a really good friend of Susan's as well. And we have been gunning to get her on the show for quite some time now. So she's a very busy woman, as you'll find out. But thank you for being here.
Thank
Priya.
you guys. I hope I'm worthy of that introduction.
Definitely
So
are.
tell us and the audience that may not know you, kind of what your role in social media has been, like, and kind of how it came about, and what you aspire to do, kind of with the message. You've got a great
absolutely.
audience.
Well, I've always had this kind of creative side to me. So when I lived in Los Angeles, I've always been in corporate America, and then I've always had my creative passions that I
Sure.
pursue on the side. So, you know, some on-air hosting and some, you know, writing. But, you know, when I became a mom, it became really clear to me all the hats women have to wear. And it helped me to understand what I needed to do to make myself okay. And it brought up a lot of the things that I wanted to improve. So when you become a mom, all of a sudden you know, you have this child in front of you. And one of my first thoughts was, I don't want to impart onto this child things that I don't really love about myself.
That's a really good way of putting it, Priya. And what a journey, you know, that must be. I've obviously known you through the births of both of your children. So I've been able to see kind of this catharsis of just you, because, you know, when we first met, you know, you were, you know, free, I guess, you know, of that particular role. And you had, and I think what I most admired about you was that you were very set in kind of what your journey was going to look like, right? And we talked many, many times about, you know, the role that women have in, you know, a lot of different elements. And so it's been interesting, just as your friend, to see the growth and kind of how that is both foundationed with both of your children, and how you're able to continue kind of that message, but in a different way, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Though, and her daughters are just beautiful.
Yes.
We should have gotten a picture
I know,
to
my
share.
little
We'll share
sweet
some.
Ari and Anya.
Yes.
I will post
Well,
one
you can
of
go
them,
to
but-
Instagram,
Yes.
and you do post quite a few photos of your family.
That's right.
Yes, as well as positive statements and remarks.
Yeah,
So-
because I think it's really important. I think, you know, I'm sure men go through this as well, but I think as women, sometimes our biggest enemy is ourselves, you know, and all the things, all the negative things we say to ourselves and all the negative things we feel about ourselves. And that's been something that's been a problem for me for years, where, you know, outwardly I seem confident and charismatic, but inside, you know, I'm beating myself up about every little thing that I do wrong. And you know, as a woman and as a mother today, there's this idea that you have to achieve perfection in all areas of your life, and it's just not realistic at all. And so I want women to understand that, you know, talking to yourself like you love yourself is extremely important, and understanding that if you don't get everything done and if you don't do everything perfectly, it's still okay. You know, you're still a great person. And so, and that you don't have to look perfect doing everything. You know, you guys know I love fashion and everything, but I'm just as likely to walk around.
She loves makeup. I have to just interject here really quickly. So for the audience that doesn't know, the first part of my life, well, obviously as an adult, I did makeup, right, for 15 years. And so really the way I was introduced to Priya was through that, you know, that was the channel kind of that got us together. And so I've done your makeup, God, I don't know,
I mean, countless
60 or
numbers.
70 times.
I can't even.
And so the picture that you see on our social media in kind of our intro to Priya being on the show, I was, you know,
Yes, you
lucky
did
enough
my
to do
makeup.
that. And so there's what I so appreciate, you know, through all of those experiences, that you develop a relationship. There's nothing more intimate than touching somebody else's face.
Yes.
You know, and we've talked about this at great length, you know, sitting in your bathroom in her stunning home, by the way. One of the bathrooms, right? We kind of go upstairs and downstairs
we switch
depending
based
on
on who's in the house.
Exactly. But, you know, spending an hour with somebody that you admire and kind of talking about, you know, I'm a feminist, obviously, and we've talked through so many different discussions about the role that women play in their personal lives, being on the world stage, how they use their platforms and voice.
Absolutely.
Right? It's been an incredible opportunity.
Yeah, I think it really has. I mean, and you've given me a lot of great advice. And the best part is that I look forward to you doing my makeup. And by the way, just so everyone knows, even though Waylon is big time now, I still beg him to do my makeup all the time because he's the only one who makes me feel good.
That's so
But
sweet.
but we've had so many conversations about that, and I think that having someone like you to bounce ideas off has been really useful for me. And also having you tell me that I don't need that much blush has also been very useful for me.
Yeah, I think we're just going to calm down with the blush just a little bit. 'Cause
Overuse
she
the
loves her some
blush.
color. Yes.
But yeah, I think it's really important. I think the time we're living in now is incredibly exciting, where women are just finding their voice and speaking on every different platform and, commanding respect in so many different industries. And the other thing is really coming together. Like, one thing I want to, if I could impart anything, is that we need to support each other as women. And I think that we have a tendency to rip each other apart sometimes. And, I really want to support the women in my life, and not, I read something the other day is that, just go 24 hours without saying something negative about someone, and
It's hard to do.
It is hard to do. And you think it's easy, and then you try to do it, and it's not as easy. So how do we just put good things out there? I think it's extremely important to empower each other.
Agreed.
I agree.
100%.
I was saying, I've been really bad at this. One of my New Year's resolutions is to start a gratitude journal. And I'll write something in it every evening. And I've written in it once. Not that I'm not appreciative of people and events and things that have happened in my life, but to take time out and recognize it. We all need to do that.
We do. Like, gratitude is something I've been working on for years. And I don't know if you all have read The Happiness Advantage by Sean Achor, who actually lives in Dallas now, in University
Really?
Park, which when I saw him in Flower Child, it was like I was seeing an A-list celebrity. I was like, oh
that's
my God, Sean
awesome.
Achor.
And his address is.
Yeah, exactly. Go find him. But he talks about in The Happiness Advantage, what I love about he taught the most popular class at Harvard on happiness. And he talks a lot about, happiness comes before success and not the other way around. Because I think sometimes in our culture, we think as soon as I'm successful and as soon as I have that, I will be happy. But one of the things he talks about is the 20-second rule and reducing the activation energy to encourage yourselves to do something. So, sleeping in your gym clothes so you go to the gym, or he removed the batteries from his remote or hid it somewhere so you wouldn't watch mindless TV. So something I did with my gratitude journal is put it literally right next to where my alarm clock is with my pen on top, so that when I go to sleep, I would remember that I needed to write in
Mine's
it.
next to mine's still in the shelf. So what I need to do is put it like on the pillow or something.
But it's
Yeah.
funny you say that, because he's like, it's that 20 seconds of activation energy that will deter you from doing something.
No, it's so true.
Actually doing that was helpful.
Well, and so this, you have to remember this, Priya. So, and it may have been kind of, that may have been the catalyst for this one change that I made in my life. So I was telling Priya, I don't know, several months ago, I was like, I hate waking up in a bad mood, because the first thing I would do was I would wake up, I would look at my cell phone, right, and I would start going through emails before I even got out of bed. I would check, every social media platform, and it just kind of like, I already felt overwhelmed before I even got out of bed. And she's like, wait until after you're up, you're dressed, and you're getting your coffee at Starbucks, because she knows I live and breathe by that place. Every day, I have not missed one day doing that. And I have to tell you, it really changed kind of the way in which I see my day starting out, because I'm not overwhelmed, and I have that moment of peace in the morning just to kind of clear my thoughts, get ready for the day. So I have to thank you for
No,
that.
I'm so
That's really
happy
good.
that because that was something I had to do myself too. I felt the same way as you. I was just on my phone as soon as I woke up, and just being, for me, it's which doesn't always happen, but I try getting up, like giving myself extra time before the girls wake up, and just going down and having my cup of tea
Sure.
and just being still and centering myself.
time.
Yes, my Priya time, because once I get up the girls, it's like nonstop
Yeah.
till they go to sleep. And so just having that moment, that's something I had to, along with the positive self-talk, I had to like spending time with myself. I was always busying my mind so I didn't have to think about things or be with be with myself, which sounds crazy, but just being still in the morning, and it makes me a better mom. I'm not as irritated if the girls won't listen and put on their clothes and do things I need them to do and move quickly. So I'm so glad you're doing that.
Thank you. Thank
Because-
you.
Well,
I
I
think-
enjoy reading your Instagram posts because, well, I don't have children, so I enjoy seeing what's going on in
Yeah.
your life and your beautiful kids. But it also puts, we all do, we all live in our little bubble world. So it makes you step out of that bubble world and realize, oh, I haven't seen you for a long time, I need to call. Or the positive remarks. I'm like, you know what, I know that, but I need to hear it again. And reconfirmation, so I really do enjoy.
Thanks,
reading all your
Susan. And
Instagram
that's just the
posts.
one thing. I just want to I want people to stop and take a second to remember those things. Like, breathe. Remember, you don't have to do everything. Remember that it's okay if everyone doesn't like you. Remember that it's okay to be by yourself. Like,
This is my life.
I mean,
no one likes
yeah.
me and I'm at home in my bed all alone.
and it's
every
okay
night.
to like take a break. Like as you guys know, because this only happens to me, I fractured my rib from coughing for 5 weeks. Like, who does that
That
happen
is
to?
crazy.
But it was a much needed break from everything. Like, I don't think I would have slowed down to, stop.
Right.
And it made me do that, and it was really wonderful. I mean, I can't do it forever, but just having limited plans and just slowing down made a big difference. And I think sometimes we forget that we need that.
It's about giving pause, I think, in your life,
Yeah.
maybe. And your Instagram account has just grown. I mean, you have an incredible audience. I would be interested to know because, just so the viewers know, and you certainly take a moment to go check out what she's doing on Instagram. It's a little bit of a lot of different things, right? So
Yes.
there's some lifestyle. She makes it very apparent. In fact, I was joking, right? Because she hates the term socialite, and I was like, as soon as you get on, I'm going to say, and Dallas's biggest socialite, Priya. But
we laugh at that,
we
like,
laugh
not
at it
me.
all the time. And I think you and I, again, have had conversations. It's so funny that I've done your makeup, and what do I always tell you to do?
Yeah.
Post pictures with no makeup
Yeah.
because, I want for women to see that, yes, you do have what appears to be, a storybook life. You have a beautiful family. I mean, literally, you're the family that comes in the frames, right, when you buy them. And you've been afforded a lot of opportunities and had great experiences in your life. But I want women to say that is one aspect of Priya, but she's also the one that is, coughs so hard that she cracks a rib,
Yeah,
or fractures
exactly.
a rib, right? That there
she
are
doesn't.
so many different layers to women.
You're exactly right, Waylon, and you have encouraged me to do that, which I should do. And it's showing women, right, this shiny version of yourself that you portray on social media isn't how you always feel, isn't how you always
That's
look.
right.
I think most people have seen me without makeup because if it's a day where I don't have to wear it, trust me, it's not going on. It's too much work. I need to give my skin a break. But you're right. We need to show that. And you and I talk about this all the time. You can have it all, but maybe not all at once.
That's right.
And we have to be realistic about that there's a season for everything. And, just because someone else is doing something doesn't mean you have to do that same thing.
That's
and
right.
that was something I had to work on a lot. I wrote an article about overcommitment, and that was something I was mired in a year and a half ago, where it was just like, oh yes, I want to do that. Oh yes, I want to do that. I want to be involved in this. I want to, and finally I had to say no. No, because I was suffering in all areas of my life. I wasn't feeling like a good mom or a good wife or a good employee or good, feeding my creative passions. And so now I think about it what am I giving up to do this? Can I fit this into my schedule? Is this going to prevent me from doing things that center me? And so you're right. It's just being open. And that's why a lot of my posts, I try to say, yeah, I did talk to myself negatively. I wouldn't have posted this picture years ago because I would have teared myself apart or thought my nose didn't look good or this didn't look
Right.
good. And now we're going to do it because everyone should feel okay.
That's right. That's great.
Yeah.
Have you received a lot of messages, kind of either support or really maybe women that have said, gosh, the things that you say really resonate with me?
Yes.
I'm just eager to hear what the
Yeah.
response has been.
Yes, and it's funny because it's from all different age groups, from women in their 20s to women in their 50s or 60s, saying, I really needed to see that today. I have been doing the same thing, beating myself up. And even just sharing funny mom moments. Like the other day, I shared how I went to this lovely. This girl had thrown a beautiful Valentine's Day party, and it said to bring 32 Valentine's Day cards, and I just thought, okay, I'll bring 32 Valentine's Day, regular
Right.
cards. they start handing out the cards, and everyone has like beautiful bubbles with tags and, you know, like
handmade.
bags with, you know, chocolates. And like the kids are like, what do you got? And I'm like, a card, you know? And so I wanted to share that because it was a moment that I had to laugh at myself,
Right.
because for a split second I was mortified. And then I said, no, it's okay. I can't do everything. And I got several messages back to that story with women having gone through the same thing. And so, yeah, I think it's true. I think women need to hear that, and they need to know they're not alone. We talked about this before you started. It's, you know, I'm all about Oprah, but, you know,
Yes, me
talking
too.
about like speaking your truth, right? Like, what are you going through? Like, be honest. And when you're honest, I feel like I can share too.
That's true. Well, I could not be more happy that you're here. I wish we could talk for like 16 hours.
Which I
What you
would.
don't know is that Priya is also an incredible writer, and so we'll share a couple of her articles on our website following the show as well. And please stay in touch with her on social media, on her Instagram account. It's amazing. You'll fall in love with the pictures. You'll fall in love with her girls for sure. And we hope to have you back on the show sometime
Thank you
soon.
guys. This was wonderful. Can I come back every week?
Every single week.
You're like third hidden
Wink, wink.
co-host.
No, just kidding. And we'll see you next time. I'm just kidding. All right, thank you guys so much. Please have a fantastic and productive week. And thank you for tuning in. We'll be back here next Monday at
Next
10 a.m.
Monday, 10 a.m. And we have an amazing guest next week, too.
Yeah, we're going to keep it a secret.
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys.